Yeah. There's really no good way to do this because I don't have hinge on that. Just the aim computer is ridiculous. And I don't know if you put this on easy because it's not easy. The computer likes to do these swaying matrix motions with that good. Even if you play this carefully. Or they have to shoot above their heads. What? No. And like, can you actually unbind some of the things? They have to be set to something. Cause I don't want X. No, you can't. Well, you can clear it. But see, does that allow you to leave it like it is? That's my question. V for multiplayer. Delete. See, switch to set. I didn't see him because he actually blended in. Yeah, he's actually blending in with the environment. Okay, they killed the joke up here. I did. That's my issue here. They actually run.
The gate was opened at the other end of the departure lounge.
Just gotta go with it. Why do you duck? Okay. They made this level so annoying. It's the last one too. Yes. Get a cutscene, please. Second chance. Hold on. Why does it take so much to kill him? Nothing's supposed to be this picky. Yep. Okay. I'll take this. Pistol's actually a little easier to use than assault rifle for some reason. So this over here. I can't go in the store. When did this get closed? You can hit a glitch, but I cannot. Bro. They all gonna be swimming out in elevators. Oh, that's a bad spot. Woo! Wow. I ain't got much ammunition in this gun. We're not supposed to protect you that much. Just get him to get away. Kill this dude. Ooh. It's not the last dude. Take it here. Yeah, I had to kill. I couldn't do anything safely.
It didn't look like there'd be any trams leaving until the power was on.
Is there a health pack anywhere? Wait. Take the ground. Alright. Now.
It worked. The trams were running again. Maybe they'd take me to my gate. Maybe they'd bring more guys wanting to whack me. Maybe both.
It better not be the latter. Why are they soaked? I deserve that one. I didn't expect them to play like that, but still, I'm just like, come on, make the game simple. Here's a guy at checkpoint.
The trams were running again. Maybe they'd take me to my gate. Maybe they'd bring more guys wanting to whack me. Maybe both.
Wait, excuse me, sir. Oh boy. Okay. I can't camp in there. And now I gotta hear this dialogue again.
It worked. The trams were running again. Maybe they'd take me to my gate. Maybe they'd bring more guys wanting to whack me. Maybe both.
Alright. I'm gonna put both guns. Like 4 on each side. Alright, he's dead. Get light up for a moment. Because there's one over here and I can see him. It's not the last one. There he is. That was risky. Oh, this will be better. Okay. Now what we can do? Let's get on a train.
And we were off. I felt like I might be able to recharge for a second. At least until we pulled into the station and met more murderous assholes. Son of a bitch! Didn't work out like that. course there'd be a tram full of goons trying to derail me.
I'm gonna get to the front of the train real quick. Make my life a little easier. He's down. What? How do you pick somebody like that? He's dead. He's low, he's hard, annoying, hard, no heat. Trying to run. I'm about to take a break. Good time. Yeah, I'm about to take a break in the next couple minutes. Actually, I don't think this is the best spot to take a break in for the way it's designed. That does not help me. What kind of... Yeah, he's dead. He's not dead yet because his armor keeps blocking the bullet. And the way they fall is really silly. Yeah, he's not dead yet.
It was perfect. Everyone wanted a ticket for the Max Payne Express.
That's fine. Now with the Alright. There's a lot of them there. At first I was ready to pick up the shotgun, but in this case, it kind of helps with the... that is the last one for now.
I felt like I'd missed out on the joke, and it was a real good one. Come on.
Just started fast. The game puts you in the most amazing warp spots ever.
The tram was slowing down, and I'd only just gotten on board. I had to salvage what I could and see what was waiting for me. This was my stop. It had taken me right into the heart of it. Becker's gimps were everywhere, so he and Bronco must be close. The smart move would have been sticking with De Silva and going straight to the hangar, but when was I ever about smart moves? I'm a dumb move guy. Hey Max, we'll drive onto the runway. No thanks. Let me walk in the main entrance. I'll put a big shit-eating grin on my face and let these assholes take turns trying to kill me. That's my style, and it's too late in the day to hope for change. Boy, were they throwing numbers at this problem. But then, I'd chosen to be here. I wanted this. Was it redemption? Not really. It was pathetic desperation, and not much else.
Well, yeah, the beginning of the end.
The further in I got, the more guys I saw. Becker wasn't running a police force. He was running an army. These guys were better trained and better equipped than anyone I'd seen out here. And I'd seen some mean sons of bitches. The mission was screaming suicide, but I didn't give a damn. At least I'd die being a pain in the ass. There the bastards were, sneaking off in their rich kid's toy.
I ain't got nowhere else to go, Becker! Mr. Payne, I believe you had something to say to me. Mate ele! Mate ele agora! Não! Não! Não!
It's gonna be a pain. Why are you not firing?
You're busy in the wrong pool, Mr. Payne!
Oh, this must be the last mission. Trying to get. To do here with the plane. This was in the
This was it. It was almost over. So I guess I'd become what they wanted me to be. A killer. Some rent-a-clown with a gun who puts holes in other bad guys. Well, that's what they had paid for, so in the end, that's what they got. Say what you want about Americans, but we understand capitalism. You buy yourself a product and you get what you pay for. And these chumps had paid for some angry gringo without the sensibilities to know right from wrong. Here I was, about to execute this poor bastard like some dime store angel of death, and I realized they were correct. I wouldn't know right from wrong if one of them was helping the poor and the other was banging my sister.
If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
Get the plane! Get in, Max! I'm in, just drive the fucking car! Go!
We had one card left to play.
Just get me close! Whoa!
Oh, okay.
Guys are running in over on the right! North side!
Oh, this is...
Come on, Max! They're gonna kill us!
Not damage, it's taking fire.
Aye!
runway! Of course they have their armor custom! Eyes front!
This thing's very hard to use.
I'm normally a behind the desk kind of...
It's so hard to use because it had you the arc of shots.
That's them! Asshole! Your career's coming down with that plane! Let's get it over with!
Would it be enough to call the end of the story? That's the real question. Will they drag it on? Like...
Wait, Max! No! Stop! Max! We have what we need on him now. Let him enjoy a trial and a spell in prison. Let him suffer. Trust me.
But see, he paid off the police. So like at this point,
You know I'll walk. You'll walk with a lift!
wait, how does that break a man's leg? Call the phone here.
Of the City Police's Special Forces Unit, who have been implicated in human trafficking, has been disbanded indefinitely. Meanwhile, Victor Bronco, the politician at the center of the scandal, who is accused of laundering money from the scheme to fund his political campaign for mayor, was yesterday found hanged in his police cell. It's not yet clear whether his death was a suicide or simply retribution for his part in a scandal that has so many families missing loved ones that were kidnapped and killed. City officials say a full investigation
Local
is
justice.
underway. Local residents expressed outrage, saying they have been let down by both law enforcement and city leaders. And now, your local forecast.
That was so awkward.
In some places, but it's sunny everywhere else. Over to Marisol with the weather.
It's sunny everywhere else. They make it sound like a natural disaster took place. Come on now. Did he even get money? Well, I know this is the ending theme song. Okay. So, I want to hit escape, but I'm afraid it might take it off of the, oh, Rockstar Vancouver. Okay. It might take it out of the screen, the credits. So, my opinion of the game. I would never play it again because of how frustrating it was. The first issue with the game is that it is it's not even a part of the Max Payne line. Even though they say it is, it's not. Like when you play Max Payne 1, Max Payne 2, you have this depressed police officer. Okay, his wife was murdered, his child was murdered, I don't know if it's a daughter or son. Anyway. And he's gone, he's literally murdering everybody to find out why they murdered him, and who did it, who was responsible. The first one was an organization that was secret, that, he had to work his way up, and then he eventually got the ringleader, okay? But the organization was still there. Then Max Payne 2, you have the same organization, but it's not really entirely against Max. It's Vlad this time who has his fascination with long socks. Max Payne had a fascination with long socks. And in the game, you had two different stories. You had two different in-game modes. You had the first one where she dies, and in the second one, you play Dead on Arrival. You have her as being alive in the game. Then it cuts off. Vlad dies, Vinny died. Then you got Nini, he dies too. And then it ends off there at the cathedral, wherever the painting is. And then you get to this game, and this game is completely the opposite of what they built in the first two games. It's like, if you played Grand Theft Auto 5, it reminds you more of Grand Theft Auto 5 than Max Payne. We went from this dark, heavy tone that was really good to this super urban tone that has nothing to do with darkness. Throughout the first and second game, they described Max Payne. Max Payne didn't drink much in the first two games. He had like a thing of alcohol here and there, but it wasn't his motive as a drinker. He may have smoked, which they did include in this game, but it's not him. Secondly, the whole art style is it's not the dark setting tone that you experience. Like, there's so many cliffhangers let me put that. In this game, it's light, it's so happy, it's not as enjoyable as the dark setting. The dark setting made you reminisce. You felt his energy because the game was in the dark setting. Then it actually ask you questions. Basically, when he narrates himself, he said, it wouldn't be you if you went back and changed the old you. Just be asking yourself a different set of questions. That was a good quote, because you're left wondering that in actuality he was telling the truth, because if you go back, you will be changing yourself and just asking some set of questions. In this game, Max is open-minded. He's not that dark, reserved character that he once was. He's this character who he's going through the same junk that he went through in the first and second game. Okay? So to repeat that same issue, it would have made more sense. Instead of, trying to be a hero, which is what he did, which is why he's so off-putting. Like, in the first game especially, the man was literally murdering anybody and everyone in his sight, trying to reach his objective, his own personal objective, in finding out who murdered his wife. And then in the second game, he did the exact same thing with Vlad when he found out little ways after that Vlad was actually trying to kill Sax. Or rather, she was a hired killer to kill him, but he just couldn't. She couldn't do it, so but still, he murdered everybody and everyone in his way to reach that objective. In this game, he does the exact opposite. So he becomes a hero, but his personality doesn't relate to serious. What I mean is, like, he's trying to save all these different women, different people, and ignoring all the suspicion. But in the first two games, he was suspicious of everything, except when Winifred, that part right there was a little tricky. But he put the pieces together himself. He did not need a second support protagonist or third support protagonist to tell him that he's been played like a flute. Okay. Then also, we're gonna talk about his friend, the one in Canada. They don't establish like how they know each other in the academy. Like, were they best friends in the academy? Were they, arch nemesis? where there's a word for it, but I don't know on the top of my head. Where they're like abolitionists, you know, like they were good, they were friendly, competing with each other, and just happened to, you know, none of this gets mentioned in the first game, none of this gets mentioned in the second game. And then, there's so much to talk about. You know, at the end game, when him and his friends separate, well, the real question is, are they truly friends? Because even though he came back for him to save him when he left him to die in a helicopter, you know, there's a lot of questions here. You know, did he feel guilty as an associate? Did he, you know, was he really a friend in all of this? Poor writing. The second thing that annoyed me the most was the controls. I've never played a game so complicated that had one of the most simple controls in the first two games, and have the most complicated controls in the third game. None of the like, I know they tried comparing it. Like, you know, if you compare Max Payne's third-person shooting to GTA 5's third-person shooting, it relates a lot together. Okay, so that's the game itself reminds you more of Grand Theft Auto 3 because of the graphics, the colors. You see that more in GTA 5, not the Grand Theft Auto 3, but GTA 5 than you would any other game. Secondly, why did they make the control so complicated? I've died more times just trying to see what's around the corner, peeking, and then sometimes the enemy will automatically auto-target me, and I will die because of that. You know, I've died more times in this game than any of the games I ever played, ever. You know, it was so frustrating, and I was determined to beat it because I know I'm not going back to play. After I'm done with this recording, I am going to go into the Steam, I'm going to uninstall. I'm not going to refund the money because, you know, I might go and experiment with it with the cheats by installing third-party stuff, but it's just the controls is just so frustrating. And then one thing that did annoy me the most, second thing that annoyed me the most, aside from the controls, was the story. Like, most of the game is you're really just watching cutscenes of Max talking to you. He's not talking to himself. He's actually explaining why he did this to you, like you're actually there, instead of saying that first person, he's using like just that second person conversation with the player is not as interesting to me. You know, like when I made the call earlier, he said, like, you know, if you go back in time and you change yourself, you'd be asking yourself a different set of questions. That was first person and second person, but throughout most of the second and first game, it was good because it was in first person. These characters were just interacting with each other without the players, without feeling the player. But here, it's just everything about it. It's just cringy. It's like, you know, you can't jump. You can climb over things, the key by default, but you can't jump. You can't duck. No, you can duck behind cover, but even if you're behind cover, somehow the hit scan detects your head as being above the cover, and you still get hit. So you have to play carefully. You crouch slowly. In Max Payne 2, when you did crouch, you couldn't move. You can roll around, which rolling was a little more smoother. But in this one, when you roll around, you're rolling like a slug, like a big gigantic boulder. Roll around slower, and it just didn't make sense to use it because it was so inefficient. Along with the covering, you know, when I was moving around with the WASD keys, if I held the D key, it will go left instead, and then after a while, you know, taking it off of the D key, you know, the keys would kind of spaz out. There's multiple moments where you do see in this gameplay that I get stuck on stuff, like when I was fighting the captain, you know, and when the infantry spawned in and swat to the next cutscene, I actually went through a wall and died from it, and I had, you know, painkillers. And also, aside from the crappy gameplay, this game has a lot of negatives. Like, a lot. Like, I like the guns, but the guns, you know, finding the golden guns is not. It's not really a super interesting objective, because most of the time, every time there's a cutscene, Max will literally drop your heavy gun and then pull out a gun for the cutscene. But with the cutscene, the gun has no ammo, so when you do use it for shooting, you have no ammo to fire, and you have to swap to the other gun. And then when you swap into the other gun, it sometimes drops the main gun to use the double held gun, which doesn't make any sense. And then, you know, it'll drop it. You know, you pick it back up. You know, enemies are kind of aimbotting you, so they're coming around you. They're swarming. Bullet time is nowhere near as enjoyable as it used to be, because bullet time was kind of cool, you know. And this bullet time was they kind of did the exact same thing that happened in Max Payne 1, which was the bullet time was kind of crappy, where the bullets would still hit you no matter how slow you're going. Like, basically, bullet time was like to give you a breather, but in the first game, it didn't give you much of a breather, so you had to be kind of careful. In this game, it does the exact same thing, but you have to be extra careful for bullet time. I don't make a nervy about this. Let's see. So I've come back. So basically, actually, let me do something quick. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna escape this. Oh, it doesn't escape right.